أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بتغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم رب شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن وافترضت على عبادك فيه الصيام، صل على محمد وآل محمد وارزقني حج بيتك الحرام في هذا العام وفي كل عام، واغفر لي تلك الذنوب العظام فإنه لا يغفرها غيرك يا رحمن يا علام. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك، وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك، فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي، وأقل يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعثرة قد أقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها، على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه، ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه، ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره، وحمده الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يده، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما. إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير، مع حاجة بي إليه عظيمة، وغناك عنه قديم، وهو عندي كثير، وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي، وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي، وصفحك عن ظلمي، وسترك على قبيح عملي، وحلمك عن كثير جرمي، عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي، أتمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك، وأريتني من قدرتك، وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا وأسألك مستأنسا، لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك. فإن أبت عني عتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي أبتأ عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلم أر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد لئيم منك عليه. يا رب، إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك، وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك، وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك. كأن لي التطول عليك، فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك. فارحم عبدك الجاهل، وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك، إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك، مجري الفلك، مسخر الرياح، فالق الإصباح، ديان الدين، رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام، الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادله ولا شبيه يشاكله ولا ظهير يعاضده، قهر بعزته الأعزاء وتواضع لعظمته العظمى فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا عاصي ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي. فكم من موهبة هنيئة قد أعطاني وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني وبهجة مونقة قد أراني، فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد سائله ولا يخيب آمله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وعمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم برحمتك في الصالحين فادخلنا وفي عليين فارفعنا وبكأس من معين من عين سلسبيل فاسقنا ومن الحور العين برحمتك فزوجنا ومن الولدان المخلدين كأنهم لؤلؤ مكنون فأخدمنا ومن ثمار الجنة ولحوم الطير فأطعمنا ومن ثياب السندس والحرير والاستبرق فألبسنا وليلة القدر وحج بيتك الحرام وقتلا في سبيلك فوفق لنا وصالح الدعاء والمسألة فاستجب لنا. وإذا جمعت الأولين والآخرين يوم القيامة فارحمنا وبراءة من النار فاكتب لنا وفي جهنم فلا تغلنا وفي عذابك وحوانك فلا تبتلنا ومن الزقوم والضريع فلا تطعمنا ومع الشياطين فلا تجعلنا وفي النار على وجوهنا فلا تكببنا ومن ثياب النار وسرابيل القطران فلا تلبسنا ومن كل سوء يا لا إله إلا أنت بحق لا إله إلا أنت فنجنا. اللهم صل على محمد. الفاتحة.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So again, please can I ask you all to come forward, please? Thank you. And just a reminder, the conference room is available. If parents do need to take their children in there, the program will be relayed in there. And for our second talk and series on Imam Ali and spirituality, please welcome Shaykh Arif for the salawat.
Thank you. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم. To continue from yesterday, the only reason we do not have a grasp of what being spiritual means is due to our inaccurate perspective on life. You see, theologically, we are taught that God creates us and awakens us upon the face of this earth, which means there is no past to us. Now, if you were to start from that point, then that would make God very unjust indeed. Think about this carefully, and I'm going to be elaborately talking about this in Muharram, that why would he have all these scribes writing down our deeds? It's very unfair. He has given us this faulty nature that is prone to excesses and mistakes. He has given us a past that is not of our doing. We carry the past with us within our conscious mind. He's given us genes. He's made us black, white, Muslim, non-Muslim. Made us take birth in a household of criminals. Made us take birth in the household of the Prophet and the Imam. And then he expects us to be righteous and then to judge us and then says this is a favor. None of this makes sense. It's all very senseless. It doesn't make sense. In fact, that makes God most tyrannical, an unworthy God, one certainly not worthy of worship whatsoever, a God that should be denied by one and all. Think about this very carefully. You're a parent. If you were to see somebody burn in hell and he is closer to you by your admission than your most favored child, would you let them burn? We hear the hadith, don't we? That God says to Moses that I love the worst of my creatures 70 times more than a mother loves the best of her children. Now, if that's the case, then a mother would not let the worst of her children burn in hell more than a particular duration, even if she's a hard-hearted, stone-hearted woman. So how can God, who loves the worst of his creatures 70 times more than a mother loves the best of her children, punish somebody for eternity? Although I don't believe hell is for eternity anyway, and neither is paradise. And you're going to get to hear all these mysterious talks in Muharram. I'm just advertising it from now. That makes God most unworthy. He's not worthy of worship. We say, God, you've given me this faulty nature. What fault is it of mine? You've given me memories that I don't even know where they come from. You've put a karma in place and I'm suffering due to what my parents have done, whilst others are rejoicing due to what their lineage, ancestry may have done prior to them. You see, the perspective on life is skewed up. It's a messed up perspective. The Quran, between the lines, is telling us there is something else going on here. When God says, Ya yatuhan nafs al mutma'inna, irja'i, return where? When God says He has created you from one soul, then He gave you forms, and then He said, prostrate before Adam, it shows our pre-worldly existence. You see, we need to get this right. This world is a huge bestowal from God. Life is a priceless gift. The inadequacies and the deficiencies that we carry are there for a reason, and they are an opportunity. They are justified by what has happened previously, our personal circumstances in this world. If we start off from that point, then we will see that indeed we are indebted to God for everything that God has given us. If we were to have that frame of mind, then we will understand why somebody like Imam Ali is saying to Allah, forgive me my sins. And he is imploring Allah in his Munajatu Sha'baniyah, in his dua Sabah, in his dua Kumail, in other places where he has spoken. This will then put into perspective why somebody like Hussein ibn Ali, he says to Allah, imploring him, O Lord, how may I thank you? With my limbs and my hands, are they not a bestowal from you? And have I not transgressed against you after you having bestowed them upon me? Should I thank you by my mouth? Is it not given by you in the first instance? And have I not sinned against you subsequently? With what may I thank you? And that is why Ali ibn Abi Talib says, O Lord, I implore you through my state of poverty and my state of nothingness to you. He acknowledges that he is not worthy of anything. Everything that is given to him is a bestowal, and now a whole life is taking place in a state of debt to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what Hussein ibn Ali says in his dua, that may I thank you with my words, but then every word that I utter in giving thanks to you causes me to become indebted infinite times more. For is it not the air that you have created that I'm going to breathe in? Are they not the lungs that you have created that expand and inhale the air? Are they not the lungs that contract and exhale the air? Is it not the vocal cords given by you, the tongue and the lips and the understanding of language, and more than everything, the good sense of knowing you and thanking you? Oh Lord, it's an impossible task. Such state of recognition of God is only after understanding that we are here for a particular reason. We do not deserve this life. It has been given to us not only as a penance and to make amends for whatever has gone on before, but also a huge opportunity for us to claim a sort of glory that was never available to us given our state previously and our natural state. And in that context, if we look at God, and when God states that I forgive every sin, then that is supposed to then humble the heart. Obviously, I want to develop this theme slowly as we go through it. And it's supposed to make us acknowledge God through gratitude. So the second principle of wayfaring, after understanding that this is a pretentious life, and if you read the Quran, I'm going to talk about it in Muharram again. If you read the Quran, it designates the life of this world Hayatud Dunya. And it says to the life of the jinn and man, Gharrathum Hayatud Dunya, deceived them the Hayat of Dunya. The Quran is very careful in making a distinction between earth and the life that we lead upon the earth. The earth is there as a real being, a real entity. We are real, but the lives that we are leading is not the way we think it is. God designates it as Hayatud Dunya, the immediate life or the lowly life, and God calls it an illusory life. It is not a real life. Get your perspective accurate. So whatever you gain, whatever you lose, whatever you aspire for, none of it is right. All of it is a mirage. It is not true. When the veils are removed and your sight becomes as sharp as the edge of the blade, that is when you will cry out that now I see the truth. Lord, send me back that I may do righteous deeds. You see, everything about this hayatul dunya is pretentious. And for the one finding the one that is beyond the hayatul dunya, needs to first acknowledge that whatever I'm experiencing right now is not for its own self. It is for something else quite lofty, quite beyond. So the first thing, in wanting to find God or realization of God after his recognition, is to admit the falsity of this world. And Ali ibn Abi Talib has constantly said, وَغَرَّتْ, and a soul that has been deluded by the life of this earth. So the first thing is to admit that I am not real in the way I think. So therefore, what the people say about me, praise and love and hatred and scorn, whatever it is, this should not matter to me. This should not distract me. The second thing we have to understand is that the properties of this world, health, sickness, wealth, poverty, these are not real, these are arbitrary. We cannot live for them and we cannot die through them. Ali ibn Abi Talib says in one of his statements that that lofty soul of God is the one who finds health in sickness, richness in poverty, life in death. The opposite is the truth in any case. So that's something we need to understand. So what happens there is that we do not become distracted by life. Now look at our approach to God accurately. For the most part, the du'as that we make to Allah are what? Oh Allah, give me health, give me wealth, give me a long life, give me children. These are all worldly prayers. These are the prayers of dunya. The only prayer that should be made in the most accurate sense is, O Allah, give me your light. For if I have you, then I lack nothing. But if you give me everything at the exclusion of your light, then after having everything, I have nothing. Look at the likes of me. I have led almost 60 years on the face of this earth. Everything has happened. God has given me everything. In the process, the only thing I've lost is my own self. I've lost 60 years of my life and I'm on the verge of my last breath. So what have I gained through all these belongings that Allah has given me? Allah has given me all of you who will no doubt forget me once I'm gone. And you should forget me. Yes, not because I'm a bad memory, but that's the way life is. Look at our du'as. They are all worldly du'as. Can you not see that? We have gone wrong, miserably wrong. It's a pretentious life. So the first thing we do is, and I'm not saying don't make these du'as are important and we do need to make them to be connected with God and to find deeper meaning. But the first thing is, we understand our pretentious state. The second thing we do now is, we understand our nothingness. Once we understand our nothingness, it causes the collapse of identity. You see, the thing that holds me together and makes me the other than God, or at a distance from God, is my understanding that I am something. So the second step and the most important step is to recognize the nothingness of the self after recognition of the pretense. Here is where Ali ibn Abi Talib says, اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء. Forgive the one who has in his ownership nothing but a plea to make in your presence. So he's denying himself any level of agency. Neither can I procure any good, nor can I dispel any evil. لا أملك لنفسي نفعا ولا ضرا. The Quran says, it says to the Prophet, Muhammad, قل, O Muhammad, say, لا أملك لنفسي نفعا ولا ضرا. I do not possess any benefit for myself, and I do not have the ability to ward off any evil from myself. And then he says, tell them, O Muhammad, if I knew thee unseen, I would have averted many evil consequences, and I would have procured many goods, but I have nothing to my ownership. I have nothing but poverty in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we can acknowledge that level of deep-seated poverty, then what happens is that Allah becomes the only authority. So the first thing is indebtedness to Allah, breaking away the false personality. The second thing is the full collapse of agency. If we arrive at that point, then we call out like Hussein ibn Ali called out, that, oh Allah, allow me to embrace your destiny as and how it presents itself. Allow me not to hesitate from within my soul. This is the thing that keeps us away from embracing our light. This constant hesitance from the decree of God. It does not mean that we should not strive our level best to procure a good decree. All it means is try your level best. But when you understand that the opposite is becoming the truth, then embrace it as the decree of God and be pleased with that decree of God. As Hussein ibn Ali fights on the day of Ashura against all odds, he wants to secure the life of himself and his children, and he wants to win the battle. He is expecting some miraculous intervention. When it becomes very clear that God has not destined that for him, he says, "Oh Lord, then keep me pleased with what you have decreed. And I am surrendered to your command." That should be the state, that we try our level best, but we embrace the decree of God as it begins to unfold. And therefore our prayers should be, "Oh Allah, give me this and give me that. And through all of it, allow me to find you. But if you decree otherwise, then allow me to accept your decree, not begrudgingly, but wholesomely, with full confidence that whatever you decree for me is better for me than what I think of my own, than what I think is good for my own self." Think about this carefully. If we understand God to be the one with absolute knowledge, can we recite salawat? Now, when you are distorted in your minds, then my thoughts become distorted. Yes, I actually feed off you. So become calm in your souls. Stay here. The decree of God is the children will run around, walk around, but you have to be focused on me. Okay? And now, inshallah, I can then continue with this. If we have this knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a parent, He's an authority, He loves us, He decrees only what is best for us. If we have this knowledge that every breath is a gift from God and He has kept us here and kept us alive, if we have this knowledge that what we can't forgive of ourselves, God will forgive of us. If we have this confidence that I can't face my own image in the mirror, but God can look at me and embrace me and smile at me. And if we have this belief that the sins that I have committed, I don't have the strength to look at them, but God looks at them and knowingly turns a blind eye to them and conceals them from the proximate angels, as we read in Dua Kumail. If we have all of that knowledge, then surely it becomes easier for us to surrender to the decree of God. Doesn't it? That, oh Lord, when you are all of these things, then allow me to surrender. Sometimes it actually feels good. When people swear at you, oh my goodness, it's the biggest liberation from the false idol. It's the breaking of the idol. Please expose me. Curse me. Swear at me. And I'm forgiving everybody for doing that. I'm not saying me, every one of us. And I forgive everyone for doing that because it is breaking the inner idol. I don't have to live up to a pretense anymore. I don't have to struggle to create a public image anymore. Do it. Abandon me. For in that is my release. In that I find my God. To come to that point of absolute nothingness and to acknowledge Allah is the authority. And that is where the journey begins. And I want to talk about one more thing. Now look at Imam Ali's dua. How beautifully it's constructed. I'm going to revisit it in a minute again. Munajat of Muttaqeen. He gives all the beauty to God and attributes all deficiencies to himself. You are the owner, I am the owned. You are God, I the creature. You the guide, I am the one who is lost. You the forgiver, I in need of forgiveness. You the sustainer, I the one who needs to be sustained. Oh Lord, when I've acknowledged all of this, and I know all of this, then in that case, you are the only one I can turn to. And when I turn to you to have mercy upon me. What is this mercy that Ali is asking for? Is it mercy the way we understand? Forgive my mistakes and forgive my sins? No. It is the most in-depth notion of mercy. Relieve me of my own self. Because I am the sin. I am the mistake. I am the waywardness. I am the state of poverty. When you remove me from me, then the only thing left is the emergence of you as you. There's a beautiful poem attributed to Imam Ali, and I'm no doubt that everybody will say it's inauthentic. But I'm going to say it because it sounds like Ali to me. He says, "Oh Lord, how can you be encompassed by a place? When there is no place, there is you. How can you be known by any state? For you are the one who gives every state its status. Oh Lord, I have been surrounded by knowledge to an extent that now wherever I see nothing but you." He says, "Oh Lord, in my destruction has occurred my destruction." In my destruction means when I began to lose myself, I began to lose the notion of losing myself as well. And in my ultimate destruction, O Lord, when it was seen, nothing but you were found. You see, once there is that utmost destruction, then there emerges the most beautiful one. Any wonder that he is spat upon on his face, and he turns his face away and walks off? Why did you not slay him? I would have done it for my ego due to the rage that he incited within my soul. Why did you go back? My ego had diminished, and he was slain for the sake of God. And that's what the Prophet said. His one strike is weightier than the good deeds of man and jinn till the day of Qiyamah. With that utmost purity. However, we must not forget that we are humans and we cannot deny ourselves, our human experiences, and that is what is most influential in our evolution to God. So if we feel fear, then we must allow ourselves to feel fear. I am afraid. However, the mistake that we are making is we are associating that fear with the fear of God. Let's make a distinction. I have a court case. I am afraid of the outcome of the court case. I'm not afraid of Allah. Can you see that? But I take Allah as my aid to help me through the court case, to give me success. And if I fail, to give me the strength to bear it, the consequences. But when we fear the hereafter, who are we fearing? We are fearing Allah Himself, aren't we? When we talk about the accounting, we are afraid of Allah. When we talk about hell, we are fearing Allah, the day in which children will become white in their hair. We fear Allah. You see, that's the mistake. We are afraid of judgment. It's like going to a court. We are afraid of the dungeon, which is a prison sentence. We are afraid of the scales that will be placed. In all of this, we should say to Allah, "Oh Allah, I need you by my side when I go through those very horrific events." It's not the fear of Allah. It's the fear of the consequences of what we have done when we are brought before our court, and when the prosecutor is brought there, and when the witnesses are presented before us, which are our own limbs and our own tongues. Yeah. At that point we are saying, "Oh Allah, this is where I need you most." And that is what Ali says. أسألك الأمان يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. I am not afraid of you, Allah, in my grave. I need you. I'm afraid of the grave. I'm not afraid of the darkness. I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of the darkness. I need you as my light. I am not afraid of you. I'm afraid of loneliness. I need you as my companion. I'm not afraid of the constriction. I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of the constriction of the grave. I need you to be my expanse, O Lord. This is what Ali says. Shall you see me being flung in the flames of fire? If indeed you can see me, then I'll call out to you and I'll plead to you, Aina kunta ya wali al-mu'mineen. Where are you, O friend of the faithful? Ya sarikh al-mustasrikhin. O the one who listens to the pleas of those who call out to him in desperation. Ali sees Allah not the one that he is afraid of. Ali sees Allah as the one who will give him security during those frightful events. So be true to this fear, but turn it into a means of reaching God. I'm going to say this again. Acknowledgement of a state of pretentiousness, acknowledgement of a state of poverty before God, and nothingness and lack of agency, accepting Allah's decree, and being true to our emotional states and finding Allah in all of these beautiful states. Ali, how wonderful an Imam he is. On an occasion he is unwell. Hassan says to him, "O father, allow me to conduct your task on this night. Allow me to go and feed the poor." He said, "Hassan, what if you, in your haste, forget to visit an orphan or a widow or an old person, and they sleep on a hungry stomach, and they come out on the day of Qiyamah, and they say to Allah and my Habib, in the Khilafah of Ali, I slept hungry on such and such a night. Hassan, you rest, let me do my duty." The Imam used to feed the poor and the orphans and the widows at night, but he never let them know who he was, for he would conceal his face with a cloth. On this night, we find the orphans crying out. We find the widows wailing. Where is that friend who comes and feeds us? On this night, we find Kufa converging to the house of Ali. We are told that when his Sahaba carried him on a stretcher to his dwelling, he looked towards the sky and he said, "O heavens, bear witness, you have not found Ali lying down at such a time." Then he says to his Sahaba, "Scatter, allow my children to escort me into my house." Why, O Ali? Zainab will not be able to bear. I will say, "O Ali, you underestimate your daughter. Come with me to the plains of Karbala. See how in search of her Hussein, she calls out, 'O Aba Abdullah, call unto me.' See how she arrives upon a hill, and look through her eyes and see what she sees. Shimar's knee is placed upon the chest of her Hussein, and the knife approaches his neck. And she calls out, if only the heavens would break. ألا لعنة الله للقوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Thank you.
علي 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 farewell Haidar, farewell oh my father, farewell Haidar, I'm Zainab your daughter. Life has no meaning without you, for you were my joy as I grew. Farewell Haidar, farewell oh my father. Just yesterday I had witnessed you cry and mourn for my mother, and here today with sorrow I say that I shed tears for you, Father. If only I could take back time to the moment of that prayer, as you said, Allahu Akbar, was praying in the mosque of Kufa. I will place my head near your head as Ibn Munjim yields out his sword and close the wound from where you bled with my hands as you meet your Lord. How could they dare to strike your head, Ali? Have they no fear of judgment day, Ali? Your absence has broken my heart. I thought nothing takes us apart. Your absence has broken my heart. I thought nothing takes us apart. Farewell Haidar, farewell oh my father. Farewell Haidar, farewell oh my father. Farewell Haidar, I'm Zainab your daughter. Life has no meaning without you,
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Tomorrow's program will start at 7:15 p.m. with Quran and the last part of the talk by Shaykh Arif Abdul Hussein on Imam Ali and spirituality, followed by Maghrib and Iftar. Then at 9:30 p.m. we'll start with Isha Salat, followed by Laylatul Qadr Spiritual Night. The poster has already been out. Can we please request you all to register as soon as possible if you are attending? There's no need to register for the Laylatul Qadr program. It's only if you're attending for Iftar. Thank you. Also, in this month, just wanted to highlight that unfortunately we've had to use a lot of paper cups, about 1,500 just in 10 days. So, a humble request if you could all help us out by bringing your own mugs and water bottle at each program, then we can do a little bit for the environment. Because at the moment, on average, we're using 2 to 3 cups per person per day. So thank you for your cooperation and your help with that. Also, as you know, we would really appreciate your feedback of our Ramzan programs in the form of a short clip, couple of minutes. You can do that with family or friends on your own and email it to our email address that has been shared on the WhatsApp group. And we'll use those videos to be shown on our Eid night program and also on our social media. Thanks to your generous donations following Brother Fazli Abbasi's talk yesterday, we alhamdulillah raised over £700 in just one evening for Who is Hussein Birmingham. So thank you for your donations and please carry on donating generously. So £700, that's 350 hot meals for those in need. Also, any donations to our Time for Change Ramzan program would be greatly appreciated. You can do so in the cash box that's located by the tea facilities. If you want to make any card donation, then please approach me, or you can also use our PayPal link and the bank details as well. Can I request you all to please recite a Surah Fatiha for all those who are unwell, for Marhuma Mulyani Shirin by Ladak and all Marhumin Al-Fatiha. Iftar will be served after Maghrib Salat in the dining room. As always, we kindly request your cooperation to help us tidy your tables at the end and ask for refills at the kitchen if required. If you need any vegetarian option, then please ask any of the volunteers. Isha Jamaat Salat will be prayed here at around 9:30 p.m. And also kind request to please keep the children with you at Iftar time and not allow them back in the chapel on their own due to health and safety reasons. Thank you. You can now get ready for Maghrib Salat.